Hey guys, it's time for BJJTV.
Megan and I are your hosts for today.
In this show, we are going to learn about the feeling of isolation caused by social media, take a look at ADD and ADHD, and learn about the topic of regret.
But first, in our top story, Brennan Randolph shares information with us about the new laws in Missouri when it comes to medical marijuana.
Green Health Docs, not your ordinary doctor's office.
The state of Missouri passed Amendment 2 back in November, and Amendment 2 basically made medicinal marijuana legal in Missouri.
Medical marijuana is still a very much evolving thing. It's brand new to law enforcement, it's brand new to everybody here in the state.
As time progresses, they are working on laws that will allow people to obtain a medical card. Forms come out this summer, and already over $3 million have been raised by dispensaries, manufacturing facilities, things like that, trying to obtain licenses. No transactions have even taken place yet.
I am a medical cannabis
It
physician.
is obviously already having a big economical effect for the state as well.
Legalization of medical marijuana in Missouri has a lot of people talking, but most wonder what's in it and what makes it so effective. Let's take a closer look.
So the important thing to understand with marijuana is there's multiple chemicals involved in the marijuana and the bud of the plant. And two of those is kind of the product of the CBD oil and THC.
THC is the more active ingredient. That's the part that gets you technically high. That's the part that you have noticeable bodily effects from.
The CBD oil is designed to be like relieving different things, like pains and things like that.
It can do everything from, arthritis, joint pain, skin conditions, headaches. It helps some people who have PTSD, depression, anxiety, things like that.
The CBD oil is a product of marijuana. It does not make you high or have a psychedelic feeling or like anything along those lines, which is why it's legal. I mean, you can go buy it at a lot of shops in Missouri right now.
CBD is quite simple to get a hold of, but THC has more restrictions.
My mom had lived in Michigan for a few years and had her medical marijuana license and legally grew marijuana. She has always been supportive and recognized the medical benefits that have been around for longer than any of us have been alive. But she has certainly noticed a difference in quality of life, has more control over her diseases than most people do with pharmaceuticals.
Medical marijuana may boast having its benefits, but it does have its drawbacks.
Marijuana in and of itself is going to depress your system, okay? People are going to be more sluggish, more slow to respond. Just because your doctor prescribes it doesn't mean you get to drive on it. There's a bunch of medications out there. If you look at the side of the label, it says, do not operate heavy machineries or drive. It's there for a reason, and you can get a DUI or DWI on prescribed medication just like you can with alcohol or drugs.
It's just like alcohol. I mean, you shouldn't be drinking and get behind the wheel of a car. I mean, that's criminalized in America. I don't think marijuana is much different than that.
Missouri is the 31st state to legalize medical marijuana, but remember, it's still a federal offense. For BJJTV, I'm Brennan Randolph reporting.
To say teens love their smartphones is an understatement, but the big question is this: are the smartphones uniting us or making us feel more alone than ever?
Can you go on your phone and look like how much you're on your phone every day?
5 hours and 21 minutes per day.
6 hours and 56 minutes.
About 6.5 hours. Social media is a part of many teens' daily routines. New research has discovered that social media can also cause mental health issues.
Rachel, Claire, and I wrote a research paper and did a presentation over how increased social media consumption affects social anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems.
Social media can cause violence, and it also is a distraction in the classroom.
So it can be a distraction from other things that people used to get involved in or people used to do.
While social media can connect us, it also can divide us and make people feel isolated socially.
People are choosing to isolate themselves but still interact with others, but only through the electronic form. So it's a form of isolation for sure.
I think for the first time ever in the history of teenagers, we now can see what everyone's doing. You feel somewhat isolated sometimes when you see your friends out and about.
Because of social media, you'll tend to see your peers doing stuff where you weren't invited. So that might end up in you having some built up anger towards that or resentment towards them.
As we become a more technology-based society, remember, sometimes it's good to put the phone down.
Sometimes we're just so absorbed in our phones and everything that it's just we aren't actually living life. We're just posting about living life, but we're not actually doing stuff.
This is Colton Satters reporting.
If we are going to be together, we need to be together all the time.
I want you to spend all your money on me.
You're going to have to take me out every day.
I am very greedy.
You won't have time for your friends.
If I can't have you, then no one can.
Don't bother introducing me to your family. They aren't going to like me.
If you ever try to leave me, I'm always going to be on your mind.
No one will make you feel the way I can. You won't even need to see your family when you're with me. I will be with you till the day you die.
If drugs told the truth, no one would let them into their life.
Many of us think we know what it's like to be living with ADD or ADHD, but unless you're really living it, it's hard to understand.
I play soccer and I really love that sport because I get to be with my friends, and it's like, I really like it because I like to run.
Here's my smiley, winky face.
Allie Young is one of many children that experience ADD and ADHD.
It goes from one extreme to the other, so she can either totally, completely zone out to where you have to scream and clap for her to realize you're talking to her, or she's just like all over the place.
ADHD can look different across each individual person who has it. It's a disorder, but it's something that impacts students' ability to learn and just focus.
She loses focus, so especially when she's writing, she'll have a thought in her head, she'll say it to you, but by the time it goes from her head to the paper, it's gone.
Often students who struggle with ADHD have a really hard time with three things: inattention, impulsivity, and being hyperactive.
Because ADHD and ADD affect each individual differently, learning to accommodate to the needs can be difficult for teachers and parents.
I would help kids learn to focus, kind of increase their attention span, work on planning and organizing and understanding kind of what their weaknesses are in order to develop them into strengths.
She has a fairly decent routine. We try to let her get the right amount of sleep just so her brain and body keep functioning.
According to the American Psychiatric Association, 5% of American children have ADHD and ADD. Allie Young does not let this challenge get in her way.
What do you like to do?
Math and jump on the trampoline.
Why do you like jumping on the trampoline?
Because then I can learn new tricks.
Her creativity is insane. She is motivated, she's creative, she is athletic. She doesn't sit still, ever, so she's constantly doing a project.
I read her book.
For Blue Jay Journal TV, I am Kate Freitag reporting.
Regrets. Many of us have them, but to what level and severity? Peyton DeBurkey recently explored this topic right here in our own school.
What is your biggest regret in life?
My biggest regret in life?
I don't know.
I don't really regret that much.
Probably quitting football last year.
Oh, my life isn't very long, so I don't know.
I regret some situations, but it made me who I am.
I probably wouldn't say I have any regrets.
Probably not having a close relationship with my dad.
My definition of regret would be a decision made that you didn't want to do, a decision or action that in hindsight you don't want to do or wouldn't have wanted to do after it's already happened.
While regret is often attributed to things we did, it can also be attributed to things we did not do. Blake Peters is experiencing this firsthand when it comes to his relationship with his father.
When I got into high school, I started driving, I started having a job, I started hanging out with more friends, making more friends, going to hanging out with people, parties, just going out of town, sports games and all that. So we barely got to talk that much. On the weekends, I try to make time, but I work, but we talk more, we call more, so we're trying to get that relationship to build back up.
It's about that processing piece, making sure that people take the appropriate steps to think through their actions, to think about other choices they could have made, and then when they move forward, they're going to move forward in a way in which they want to.
Regret can be difficult to live with, so why not take the steps to end any regrets you have? For Blue Jay Journal TV, I am Peyton DeBurkey reporting.
Megan and I want to thank you for joining us for Blue Jay Journal TV today.
Until next time, don't forget to visit us at www.bluejayjournal.com. Have a great day, Washington.